Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 15 of Off the Wall with Cody here on Amateur Sports TV. I'm your host, Cody Wall. Last week, I had the opportunity to speak to Caitlin Anderson, number 14 of the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 girls squad. Excuse me. Coincidentally, uh, managed to get a number 14 on for my 14th episode. So just one of those little things that funny how things work out sometimes. In our interview with Caitlin last week, uh, Caitlin and I talked about how her off season's been going so far, heading into her third and final season with the Hawks. Caitlin also touched on what it's been like getting a chance to play with her younger sister Jessica, what she's been doing to try and bring her game to the next level, hopefully earn a spot playing university hockey in the future. And we also took a bit of a preview at some of the girls who could be making the jump from the U15 Hawks to the U18 Hawks. One of those players mentioned in our interview by Caitlin to keep an eye out for was Emma Durand, who had played last season with the U15 Pembina Valley Hawks. Emma wore number 18 last year with those Hawks and managed to put up 66 points in her 47 games played. It'll be interesting to see once the season rolls around if she can turn her success at the U15 level into a spot on the U18 squad. If she does end up making the team when it does come to winter and likes to stick with her number 18, she'll have some big shoes to fill with taking over that number. For all you guys who watched the Pembina Valley Hawks girls team over the past couple seasons, number 18 was the recently graduated Abby Bordenwee. Last season, Abby was the leading scorer for the Hawks with 42 points in 37 regular season games. But looking at Emma's stats there in the U15, as well as hearing the scouting report from Caitlin, I feel like Emma should, if she's able to make that jump this year, should be able to make that transition fairly seamlessly. As always, the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 female team are one of the teams A's TV has been covering pretty exclusively, along with the Pilot Mound Buffaloes, and they're now 4 teams at the academy for all their home games for both clubs over these past few seasons. A little bit later, we're going to have on a guest that I've gotten a chance to know over the years, dating back to my days racing a few years ago. We're going to have on Taylor Audette, a multi-sport athlete in women's hockey, women's softball, and lastly, amateur racing. Before we send it to our interview with Taylor, let's take a look at one of the teams that has recently come on with ASTV and the Prince George Kodiaks of the Canadian Junior Football League. Looks like as per the Canadian Junior Football League website, looks like the Kodiaks fell a bit short again of trying to capture their first win of this season last Saturday when they took on the Valley Huskers. So far, the Prince George Kodiaks have fallen to 0-2 against those Valley Huskers, but coming on Saturday the 20th, they're going to get a chance to get a rematch against those Valley Huskers, this time on their home field, and they look to claim their first win of the year. That game is going to be brought to you by ASTV Network and can be watched pay-per-view on bcfctv.com. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back for our interview with Taylor Audette. But first, we're going to hear from some of our supporters here at ASTV that help us keep the program going here. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Coming on the show today, we have Taylor Audette, a multi-sport athlete. She was an all-star forward for the Southeast Sharks this year. Currently, was an outfielder for the Eastman Lightning Baseball Club and is driver of the number 9 four-cylinder car at racetracks such as Victory Lane Speedway in Winnipeg and the Lake of the Woods Speedway in Kenora. Taylor, how are you today?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. First of all, I want to say thanks for coming on today. Talking to set this up, you said you've been pretty busy. Looking at that intro, yeah, I can see how you'd be a pretty busy lady and then throwing in a part-time job there, and must be almost impossible to find some downtime for yourself.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months. Like July was full with softball, and then as soon as August rolled around, that was when work picked up, and then there's just been racing on top of everything else. I have zero time to do anything.
Not to mention you just graduated as well. Congratulations for
Thank
that.
you.
Are you planning to be heading to the university this upcoming spring?
I am, yeah. I'm going to the U of M this year. That's my plan.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll start off with your hockey career. Looks like you found yourself having a great year, highlighted by being an assistant captain for the Sharks, as well as being named an all-star for the Winnipeg U18 AA Female Hockey League. And then also, I got here that you got invited to the Team Manitoba Aboriginal Top 40 camp. How has that been all this year?
It was a really good year, honestly. Coming into this year, I wasn't even sure I wanted to play. My last few years had been pretty tough, so when I started playing AA, and then everything just kind of ended up working out really well this year. So it just made me fall in love with the sport again, which makes it that much more fun to play. And then getting the invite to that top 40 camp was like the cherry on top of everything, because it was unreal. I remember getting that email that I was invited, and I ran to my mom like, look what I got, and it was crazy.
Oh, I can imagine that would be a crazy experience. Yeah, like you mentioned, your prior 2 years looked like you were playing with the Interlake Lightning, deciding to play with the Winnipeg Sharks. How did the season go with the Sharks this year? Obviously, I was trying to dig up some stats. Unfortunately, weren't able to find anything on a team website or anything. So, how did the season go?
I believe we went like 22-4 on the season. So we finished the season in second place in regular season play, and then our playoff run, we got a bye in the first round, then won the second round in 4, and lost game 5 of the finals to the Vics, and ended up finishing second place. But it was an unreal playoff run. It was a lot of fun. I was proud of us.
And that's great to hear that it kind of reinstalled your love for the game again. It sounded like you were maybe having a bit of a hard time there. So hockey is definitely a sport I love. So to hear you kind of get that passion again, that's great to hear. We kind of talked in the past how you had maybe wanted to further your hockey career by going to university. Is that something that might still be in the cards or on your radar going forward here?
As much as I want to say yes, I don't think so. Now that I'm going to the U of M, I don't want to leave and go anywhere else. So, and making the Bison's hockey team is pretty hard to do. So I have plans to play. There's the women's junior league that plays out of the Iceplex. I'm going to try and play in that league this year, and hopefully that's what I'll get to do for the next couple of years.
Interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I think we've actually been in talks with possibly covering the play-by-play and color of the games. That's for the Winnipeg Female Ice, I believe, correct?
That would be teams like So it's just a 6-team league, right? So they have there's like Western Predators, Prairie Blaze, like the teams like that. So
Okay, I'll have to check into that a little bit more, but it'd be interesting if we get a chance to maybe call some of your games there for when you're playing the junior hockey. That's actually, it's great to see a lot more women's leagues popping up. Uh, you don't see enough recognition for the women's game. Looks like we got a little bit of technical difficulties. All right, looks like we got our technical difficulties figured out there. I believe we were talking about you're going to be playing in the Women's Junior Hockey League next year.
that's the hope. Yep.
Yeah. What team are you going to be trying out for?
So the way that I understand that their tryouts work is you just try out for the league, and one of the 6 teams will pick you from that.
Okay, so it's almost like a draft.
Basically, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Getting a chance to get drafted, go for that first overall status.
Hope so.
That'll be pretty fun. That'd be something not everybody gets a chance to experience in their lives. So that'll be fun for you. And we'll have to maybe check in with you after that whole process is gone through and see where you're playing next year and where you went in the draft.
Yeah, for sure.
Turning our attention to baseball, I had mentioned that you guys had finished third in provincials and got a chance to go to. Sorry, I didn't say that yet. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Back in the middle of July, it looks like you and your teammates earned a spot to represent Manitoba at the Nationals after winning. Or after finishing third place in the provincials, and talking before, sounds like it was a bit unfortunate you didn't get a chance to attend the Nationals. You want to tell everybody what transpired?
Yeah, so after an unbelievable weekend, which did just happen to be probably the hottest weekend we've had this summer, we were supposed to go to Nationals, which were hosted in Fredericton this year. But looking into the trips and the dates, about half of our team couldn't go for both financial and existing commitments. So we ended up pulling out of that and didn't get to go. But still, just knowing that we had qualified and made it to a spot where we were able to go and represent Manitoba at Nationals it's just a pretty cool feeling. I haven't had that with ball yet, so
Yeah, I'm sure anytime you get a chance to represent, obviously Manitoba, or you getting the chance to represent Manitoba, unfortunately didn't get to go out to Fredericton. But anytime you get to represent, that's a huge honor. So congratulations to you and the Lightning on doing that and finishing third in the provincials. After taking a look, I saw on Facebook back in June you hit your first out of the park homer in your career. So first, I want to say congrats. And how did that feel? Obviously, that's a pretty big ball to be able to get it all the way over the fence. That's got to take some power.
Yeah, it's funny actually. So obviously being my first one, it was a pretty surreal feeling, but the pitch that I hit was up at my eyes. It was a very high pitch, and everybody thought I was gonna swing and miss, and then it came off my bat and it just traveled. I watched it go over the fence and instantly broke out into a huge smile and I jogged around the bases. I said to my third base coach as they came by, I'm like, that was my first one.
Yeah, it's something I've definitely never to do. So congrats to you. I was never that good at baseball. I was barely good at hockey, so I stuck to just one sport. But speaking of different sports, what sport kind of holds a special place in your heart? Hockey or baseball?
Hockey, 100%.
Yeah, that's the number one.
Yeah, always has been, and I think always will be.
That's good to hear. I think I remember one of the things we were talking about before our technical difficulties was just the fact that, you know, it's so good to see all these different female hockey leagues popping up now. There definitely needs to be a lot more. You see that there is kind of a need for women to be in sports. You see them trying to get that professional hockey, women's professional hockey league up and going, and hopefully they're able to get a feasible league going there. But just making role models for young women to kind of pursue sport is just something I've kind of, especially doing this show and kind of seeing a little bit more of the ins and outs, I've kind of appreciated. Do you have any female hockey players that you kind of look up to or aim your game around?
I want to say yes, but that wouldn't be entirely true. I haven't, for some odd reason, I haven't paid much attention to women's hockey much throughout my career, but Haley Wickenheiser has always been one that I always remember and I always think of, just because you see her do so much. Like, you see her everywhere, right? And it's cool to see where she's gone with it.
Right, she's kind of a trailblazer for women's hockey.
Yeah.
Definitely a good role model. Turning our attention now to racing, I believe this is your second full year of racing. For everybody who doesn't know, who got you into racing?
My dad.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was after him racing for, it would have been 18 years, he finally got me into a car, even though I think it scared him a little bit more than it scared me. But he did it, and now I'm here, second year. So.
Yeah, you're enjoying it?
I am, yes.
That's awesome to hear. Looks like we just missed you. Me and my wife went to Victory Lane last week, and looks like the Four Cylinders weren't playing. I weren't racing last week, so didn't get a chance to see you, but I got a chance to catch up with your dad and kind of talk about your racing future, how you guys might be considering driving a truck. I believe you guys already have one. So
yes, we currently do. We have the chassis for one, I believe.
Is that something that you're looking forward to, kind of trying to drive something a little bit quicker, or you're happy with that 4-cylinder for now?
I'm happy with my 4-cylinder. I'm a little scared to get into something else. It did take me it took me about 2 years to actually warm up to the idea of even getting in a 4-cylinder. So it's a little scary. It's also exciting though, just because it'll be cool to race in a different class with different drivers, but mostly scary.
And looking at last year, you're coming off of being named the Victory Lane Rookie of the Year last year. How has your year gone this year so far?
Given I've only been able to race a few times, I'd say it's actually gone pretty well. At my car, we changed a few things, so we made it faster. So now I'm just trying to adjust to the extra bit of speed, and I'm starting to get more used to racing with just throttle control without touching my brake. So it's been another full year of learning for me, just because my racing style has changed so much just from last year. Even
you definitely have a good guy to kind of bounce some ideas off of. You said your dad's been racing for 18 years. Definitely got some experience to bestow on you, and I'm sure he's not shy to give you pointers anytime you ask.
Yeah, definitely not. Last year, not so much. He wouldn't tell me anything. But this year he's a lot more comfortable with me in my car now. So he's a lot more open to telling me things than he was last year.
Yeah. He started his racing career in 4-cylinders, correct?
I want to say yes. I think that's right.
Yeah. Okay. I think I remember back in the day, when my dad first started racing, I believe I remember him driving the orange number 20 4-cylinder, and then eventually moving up to the pure stock and now the Midwest Mod division. So definitely been fun watching him kind of move up the ranks, and fun watching you get now into a car. Aside from the thrill of driving, what's your favorite part of racing?
For me personally, I like the family aspect of it because my entire family is in it, and then just the people at the racetrack. Like, it's the atmosphere, I think, that drew me to it the most. You can always talk to somebody at the racetrack. There's always somebody there. Like, somebody has a story or something's going on, and there's always somebody to talk to, and it's always a good time at the racetrack.
Yeah, there's always drama, whether it's good or bad. And that's something that people who aren't around the racing community don't really get. So really nice to hear that's kind of your way of thinking too, is just a family atmosphere, especially with your family being so kind of entrenched in the racing community. If you could race against any driver head to head, past or present, who would you choose to race against?
That's a tough one. The easy answer would be my dad.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. But I feel like that's actually going to happen one day, is I'm going to end up racing against my dad. After that, it would probably be Ricky Weiss.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy. That's a good answer. I never thought of Ricky Weiss, but he definitely would be a good answer. He's a guy he's a good wheelman, a guy who could probably show you a thing or two out on the track. But yeah, I figured maybe your dad would be your answer. And that's not a bad answer at all either.
Yeah, I feel like that would be cool. We've had conversations, like the family, about trying to get 4-cylinders so that me, Mercedes, my uncle, and my dad could all race each other around the track one day. But so maybe that'll happen one day.
Well, I want to thank you, Taylor, for coming on today. But before I let you go, I remember from my racing days how important it is to have help at the track as well as in the pocketbook. So is there anybody you'd like to thank while you're on today?
This would be a good time if I knew my sponsors. And like, obviously, all my sponsors. Airport Motor Inn has always been a big one for my sponsors. They were definitely the reason I actually was able to get my car. My parents, forever, always my parents, and my grandparents. I would not be able to do anything that I do without my parents' support and my grandparents' support.
Definitely some good answers from you there, Taylor. And sorry to put you on the spot for the sponsorship there.
It's all good.
But again, I want to say thank you for coming on. Hopefully get a chance to speak to you in person in the next couple of weeks. Hope to go out and watch a couple of races, possibly in Kenora, and hopefully watch you dominate out there.
I'm hoping that'll happen soon. So
I think it will. So again, thank you, and have a great night there, Taylor.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. That was Taylor Audette, multi-sport athlete from the Winnipeg, the Eastman Lightning Baseball Club, the Southeast Sharks, as well as local race car driver at Victory Lane in Winnipeg. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break and come back for more Off the Wall with Cody.
Welcome to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot Mountain Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back, everybody. Great interview there with Taylor. Great getting a chance to catch up with her. As mentioned, been a little while since I've been able to get around to the track and talk to some of the people I used to hang around with. So getting a chance to hear that she's, doing well and making her way up in the sports world, not just in hockey, baseball, but also racing. In our interview, she had mentioned that, one of her, if she could choose anybody who she'd get a chance to race with, she would pick her dad. That really, that answer is something that, really hit home with me because that's something I got a chance to do and really brought me back to the good old days when me and my dad used to race a number of years ago back in the street stock division. Definitely things got a little heated at times, but like she mentioned, just a cool aspect and something that she'll hopefully get a chance to do someday down the road when she does end up moving up to another class and hopefully gets to race against her dad, Nick Lenart. Also, she had mentioned that getting to the opportunity to participate in sort of a draft to enter the league. That was another thing that I kind of found that was pretty cool from our interview there. But turning our attention to some of the other stuff that's been on the network here before I sign off for today. Looking at this last weekend, looks like our Saskatchewan correspondent, Mark Kincaid, was at the KISIK Summer Classic in Warman, Saskatchewan, with his out and about in Saskatchewan sports. Those interviews can be found on Facebook from this past weekend, and looks like he was joined by another guy who has I've heard is wanting to do some interviews here on ASTV, and that's Tanner Swenson. So Tanner, that was the first time I seen you on our network there, so I want to say thank you for coming to ASTV and welcome. As always, you can find other shows that are constantly running, such as Theo Tuteluk's On the Ice show that runs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Time, as well as ASTV, like I've mentioned before, trying to develop new shows constantly. I believe we are still looking for hosts for some of those shows. So for all you sports fans out there who have been thinking, maybe you'd like to get into the sports show game, don't be shy. Reaching out to people such as myself on Facebook, Cody Wall, or finding our manager, Glenn Mumford, or reaching out through the ASTV social media platforms. If you're thinking that you want to be a host for one of our shows, doesn't hurt to reach out and see what comes back. Always trying to expand here at ASTV. That's how we ended up getting those goofy guys like Mark Kincaid. But I jest that Mark's a great guy and a great addition here to ASTV. But like I mentioned, if we're always looking for help, as seen on our Facebook page, you can see ads for looking for play-by-play and color guys across different areas throughout Canada, and as I also mentioned, looking for new shows. Some of the new teams that have been added to our network here, looks like going forward, Edge School is going to be using us for their showcase events taking place in Calgary. IHA is going to be wanting us to take over for their games, home games this upcoming season. And as I've mentioned, Mark Kincaid's been in contacts with Indigenous to see what he can get us, if he can get us doing some work with the new Indigenous Hockey Academy out of Saskatchewan there. This is going to be their inaugural year in the league, so it'll be interesting to see how if they're able to hit the ground running. Some other events that could be coming up here next week. I believe I'll be speaking to tournament organizer, a guy who's been in contacts with us since our trip there to Edmonton, and I believe it's going to be happening this week. We've been having a little bit of difficulties trying to nail down a time that worked for both me and my guest, but we're going to be having on Christopher Steig, and he's going to be coming on to talk about the app he's been developing. Christopher Steig, obviously a long time, most notably, I would say, known for his time with the Chicago Blackhawks, winning 2 Stanley Cups with them back in 2010 and 2015. Took a little bit of a break there for that 2013 playing, I believe, with the Florida Panthers before going back to Chicago for that second cup of his. He's going to come on and talk about some of the things that he's been wanting to work with us here at ASTV. As I mentioned, his app. We're going to talk about tournaments and camps he's been running, and just dive into some of the stuff he's been doing in his post-career. And that's going to be hopefully coming up on next week's show here on Off the Wall. So be sure to tune in. Winding down here for today's show, you can find past editions of Off the Wall with Cody on YouTube, on our Facebook page, and on our website, amateursports.tv, under the sports drop-down page. There you can also find the other shows, like I mentioned, Theo's On the Ice show, our upcoming Indigenous sports show, and AAA hockey show, which is a show that is going to be, we are currently looking for a host for, so that's another one of those ones that, for all you guys watching, and know some stuff about AAA hockey in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and I believe Alberta is where we're looking for the host between those provinces. Like I said, reach out to our social platforms, and maybe you can see yourself on a web show here on ASTV. I'm going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors here. Without them, the show wouldn't go on. Looking at our sponsors, the show is brought to you by AETI, Case Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, and Tolvi Hockey. Subscribe on our YouTube page, amateursports.tv. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. And if you want to tag us, hashtag amateursportstv. But for this Tuesday's edition, I'm Cody Wall saying good night, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week, hopefully with an entertaining interview with some more content coming to ASTV in the near future here. I'm Cody Wall, signing off.